Because a feature from Eminem on this podcast could really make things take off.
Honestly, I think it'd make us worse.
You think so?
Yeah, because he would just... he'd be so bored.
He would. He'd be sitting here twiddling his thumbs.
Like, why are you guys using a broken laptop to record this?
I think he'd appreciate our process just from how
it'll
bare
remind
bones
him
basic.
Of Back on 8 Mile when he's...
We would get 5
up.
minutes into this, and he would say, "Okay, guys, let's get in the car. Take you to my place."
No, he would be like, "I need to be somewhere. Sorry, this didn't work out."
I don't even know why we're entertaining this thing.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Make Me Like This, where I try to convince my friend Brandon to like something that he otherwise wouldn't. And on today's episode, I'm going to try to convince Brandon to like Bulletproof coffee.
Yeah.
At my house, Julie introduced me to Bulletproof coffee, and I came to find out that it's called Bulletproof coffee, but she just called it Bullet coffee.
Yeah.
I want to make that distinction because Bulletproof coffee is like a brand of products.
So Bullet coffee speaks to like the ingredients and the science behind it, and Bulletproof is simply someone who copyrighted a flavor of it. Like they were putting it out.
Absolutely.
Right.
Bulletproof coffee is a brand.
Right.
I don't know that bullet coffee is actually a thing. When I first started talking to friends that, hey, have you ever tried bullet coffee? They're like, you mean bulletproof coffee?
Yeah.
I was like, no, Julie calls it bullet coffee.
That's like the Kleenex versus facial tissue, you know?
Yeah.
Kleenex is ubiquitous.
So I don't know that bullet is equivalent to facial tissue.
Well,
It's just in my mind, that's what my wife and I have been using to describe it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't you? I think I have a sense for what this is, but why don't you tell me your explanation, your definition of what this what bullet coffee is?
So, Julie sent me a link about 2 months ago that was to this blog post about this woman that was drinking it in the morning, and it's connected with the keto diet.
Mm-hmm. Keto being mostly meat and vegetables.
It's trying to convert your body to ketosis,
right?
Which trains it to burn fat instead of carbohydrates.
So it's really eliminating carbs from your diet.
Yeah, and focusing on higher fat, and I think it also has connections to the CrossFit community, or at least the pretty active community, like good exercise, as all dietary plans should come with, would be rigorous exercise, something I'm more of a hobbyist exerciser.
Yeah, I just took one step away from the table because that's not doing anything to make me like it more.
Yeah, so I started reading this article, and what they talked about, so bullet coffee or bulletproof coffee is you brew your coffee for, your 2-cup serving or whatever it is that your serving is, and then you add some butter, and you add some MCT oil to
MCT
it.
Oil.
It's medium chain triglycerides.
Okay, so is this something that you have to get at like GNC or something?
I bought it on Amazon.
Okay.
I literally clicked the link in this article that went to a specific kind of MCT oil.
They got you.
And I was like...
You got in their marketing funnel.
Yep.
You got it.
Yep. And I was like, okay, I'll get this. Because I don't usually do this. It was like kind of an impulse purchase. But MCT oil is derived from coconut oil.
Okay.
And
this is a powder?
It's literally an oil.
Oh, it's an oil.
Mm-hmm.
So you make your coffee, you put in some butter in it. For some reason, I think it's supposed to be like grass-fed
beef butter is because there's a lot of saturated fat in butter, and the more that you can go organic with it,
Right.
the less whatever the bad cholesterol is, HCl, I
Yes.
think, the risk with that is. But
Okay.
like you still have plenty of, I mean, with the HCT oil, I don't think that it promotes CDL, or I could be mistaken. I know there's good cholesterol, bad cholesterol. This is on the badder.
More on the bad side.
More on the bad side.
Right. So what's the purpose for doing this?
So the purpose for doing this, the article was like combining the fat content with the caffeine creates sustenance,
Right.
and also creates a slower release of the caffeine.
Right.
So it's a more steady energy as opposed to straight black coffee, which, depending on the person's body and what they eat for breakfast, could sustain them, or this can help sustain them longer.
So less of a caffeine crash.
Less of a caffeine crash,
and a more sustained, even buzz.
Mm-hmm. So what I've used it for, I do a pour over coffee in the morning, so that I only do a personal amount because no one else in my house is drinking coffee. Yeah. And then I put it in a Pyrex pitcher, and I plop in a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of MCT oil.
Yeah.
And then I mix it up. I'm also mixing in collagen peptides, which are helpful for knee cushioning, like because I have knee problems.
Okay.
But it's an unflavored powder, and it's only adding texture or whatever.
This is just a concoction of everything that ails you.
It's your hangover cure or whatever. So then I have an immersion blender, and I just whip that up, and it makes it real frothy, and almost it's
your
like
coffee makes your coffee frothy.
It's frothy coffee. And I should trademark that, frothy coffee, if it's not already trademarked. And it kind of replaces the need for cream if you're a cream person. Okay. And it's like a little nutty. It tastes nutty and creamy, like the consistency. I actually appreciate it from just a taste, pure taste standpoint. Which is strange because I thought I would be sacrificing on taste, because it seems weird to put butter and oil in your coffee. It just seems like it would be a problem.
You're like greasy, and like you have these little like oil marks on the top, the surface.
Yeah. So what I've been using it for, I don't do it every day. I don't use it as it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be for someone who is going to work out in the morning in a pretty rigorous activity, and is fully committed to keto. Yeah. Like they don't have carbohydrates in their diet, which I will admit I've gotten into sandwiches again. Yeah. And I really like bread.
Everybody does.
But with you not consuming, I mean, you consume carbohydrates. You consume rice and other
nacho chips.
Yep. So you
everything.
You have carbohydrates in your diet, you just don't have wheat in your diet.
Correct.
Which I think is an advantage to already being in line with that.
Okay.
I think there's big negative health consequences to drinking this every day. So what I do is when I'm in a hurry in the morning and I need to get out the door, and I still don't want to be hungry by 10 o'clock, this thing can get me to 11:30, noon, and sometimes I've even gotten to 1 without feeling like I'm going to punch someone from hunger pains.
Yeah.
And the energy has been great because I've got a newborn. I'm not getting a lot of sleep. I know that this isn't a long-term elixir, but it is something that has helped me to not crash from caffeine intake, which I'm really sensitive to caffeine. And this seems to be a good vehicle for sustained morning energy. Now I got to figure out the afternoon.
Sure.
But, so ideally, I'd like to have 3 eggs, a piece of toast, and some fruit for breakfast. And that's like my ideal minimal breakfast to be balanced and be able to attack the day. Have my coffee separate, right?
Yeah.
This produces similar effects for me. It's just nutritionally, I know that I'm taking a hit. So I can't slip into having this happen every single morning.
Yeah. Have you noticed your focus increase?
My I don't know that directly my focus has increased, but my ability to focus, especially in the morning, I've noticed a marked difference to where I feel better, and it doesn't feel like a caffeine rush that's helping me do it. It just, I feel normal. I actually feel relaxed, but I do feel sharp.
You do, but that might just be alertness, right? It speaks more to the fact that
it could be
you're sleep deprived, and this gets you past that, and as a result, you might be more focused. Whereas my introduction to Bulletproof coffee was that, this is a great way for you to harness your focus and be extremely tuned in, because of the way that the fat surrounds the caffeine and allows it to absorb into your body at a slower rate.
I believe that is an effect of setting me up for being able to focus. And maybe I'm being too nuanced with this. I think focus is a choice. There are other factors besides alertness and energy that allows you to focus, right? And depending on projects, sometimes projects are just more difficult to focus on than other projects. Yeah. But I have noticed the ability to, when I choose and cognitively I'm connecting with a project that I'm able to move on. Like yesterday, I was really effective in the morning. And was able to motor through a lot of things that were like individual tasks. And then in meetings, I felt like I was listening really well and able to process back. And I've been battling a sinus infection. And when I have a history of sinus infections, when I get them, they stay for a while. And this one has stayed for 3 weeks and has gotten to the point where before my latest sinus surgery, I was seeing myself see the world, and I was having that same kind of stuff. I'm on steroids right now and another round of antibiotics, and so I'm getting a little reprieve from that. But it actually has helped me cut through that a little bit.
So regardless of what aspect of your mental state it's helping, and whether or not it's a placebo effect, there is certainly a noticeable difference for you when you're taking this. Let me ask about your weight. Have you noticed any impact on your weight, either positive or negative?
So I haven't been doing it consistently in any way.
Would you say once a week? Twice a week?
I'd say 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, I do it.
I think that's enough to.
That's enough.
Impact.
I have gained weight in the last 4 months. I've gained probably 7 pounds. But I've also been eating like crap. So it's hard for me to separate it.
Have you been eating like crap because you've been like, this has changed your homeostasis, this has changed your metabolism in a way? Maybe
it could be. I am consuming it in a way that could contribute to weight gain. It's one reason why I'm considering backing off of it or not doing it anymore at all. The other reason is that I have a history of bad cholesterol, and I'm realizing that I got to draw blood panels here in the next month. Yeah. And it's kind of like a drug addict. I'm like trying to get clean so that I don't get popped by my doctor.
Well, it's, that's
or, die long term prematurely.
Well, I mean, that's secondary. You want to make sure that you got good panels before.
So that I have a friendly interaction with my doctor.
Yeah, you don't want him to start yelling at you.
It seems so basic. It's against everything I believe, but I think everyone can empathize that medical practitioners have a way sometimes of making you feel like a bad person.
Yeah. Judgy. They're judging you.
Especially dentists.
Dentists are the worst.
And I really don't like to pay to feel that way.
Yeah. Did you know that dentistry is the top profession for suicides? Did you know that?
No. Is it because they're so judgmental? They judge themselves and nothing is ever good enough?
Maybe. Or maybe it's...
Is it a prerequisite to have an abnormally white set of teeth to be a dentist?
No, I think the access to whitening technology just makes that so much more convenient for them. Well, okay. So
would you go to a dentist that had a missing tooth?
Yes, because he can't practice on him or herself, right? So it's like if you live in a small town, there's only 2 barbers, and one of them has a really nice haircut, and one of them, it looks pretty crappy. Who are you going to go to? You go to the one with a crappy haircut, because he's the one giving the haircut to the other one. You can't cut your own hair, so you would assume that the good haircut came from the other person. So the same
logic
way
checks out. It's
I
totally
think I read that in a
unrealistic.
children's joke book or something.
It's totally unrealistic.
Yeah.
It's not something that you would ever actually do.
Right.
But it makes sense that but like, does a dentist practice poor judgment? Because they don't have to just go to the only other dentist in the community.
Well,
they can go to pretty much... I mean, it only happens every 6 months. They take pretty good care of their teeth.
I mean, this was from a 1980s children's riddle book. So
they also brush their own
salt.
teeth between 6 months appointments.
They probably do. And realistically, there's hygienists for that purpose, right? The dentist doesn't do anything. They just come in, take a look at what the hygienist did, and said, okay,
Unless
good.
you F up.
Well, yeah.
Then they're going to drill you.
I don't know. Never had a cavity.
Congrats.
So I don't know what that experience is like.
I know full well. Not only that, but I like my 2 front teeth are fake.
Are they really?
Yeah.
Shut up.
Yeah. They're not real.
Those are fake?
Fake teeth.
They look real. What did they get knocked out in a
I paid
hockey accident?
to make them look real. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, no, you pay to get crown. I mean, like, it would suck if you paid and got like
garbage teeth.
Yeah,
that were like
Starburst tucked into your front hole.
You know, like Steve Buscemi teeth.
Or
for that.
the Freddie Mercury teeth that they had for this movie, this Bohemian Rhapsody movie, awful, like so distracting. Like Freddie Mercury had a lot of teeth.
Yeah,
he had extra.
So the
teeth.
actor who plays him in this movie has got a prosthetic that makes it look.
And especially early on in the movie, it's distracting. He's going like this.
Oh.
And it's just like, I don't know, distracting. But anyway, how do we get here? Oh, yeah. You don't want to pay for that crap.
Right.
Like, I had this tremendous opportunity. I got these replaced a little bit ago. I've had them blown out since I was in 6th grade. Like, they just came out. I had crowns put in.
Oh, wow.
So I've had them since 6th grade. But I've had a couple different sets of teeth in there since that.
Yeah.
And recently got them replaced a couple years ago. And so, like, you have this opportunity every so often. They're like, hey, those crowns, like, their lifespan's about done. What do you want the next ones to look like?
Yeah.
Like, do you
Rainbows.
want to go? And so it's this mix of like subtle change, because you don't want people to be like, hey, it's not like a haircut, right? You appreciate when people notice your new haircut because it means you cleaned up.
Right.
The only time people don't notice your new haircut is if you get a haircut every 3 weeks.
Sure.
And you don't give them a chance to notice that you've let yourself go.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's got to look right, and you have an opportunity to have a smile that's better than what your natural one is. And my teeth look better than my siblings, so I win.
You definitely win. So, talking about the coffee, one of the things that, I mean, I do enjoy a good cup of coffee. One of the things that's a factor for me is cost. And you know, I bring a French press to work so that I can make some coffee easily and conveniently without running out to a Starbucks and paying nearly $6 for something nice.
And that French press is going to be better than what you get at Starbucks, in my opinion.
Probably.
You can let it steep as long as you want. You can use the grounds that you want to use. I love French press coffee.
Yeah, me too.
I do my own. The reason I do pour overs at home is because it's easier to clean up. I can throw a filter in the pour over.
Right. So this speaks to both
of us.
Yep. Okay, this speaks to two concerns. A, expense. You go to Starbucks. You're paying for convenience. You don't have to make it. It's supposedly premium. And the same with my French press, cleanup. It's pretty easy, right? I just pour the grounds into the thing, heat it up, and then rinse it out afterwards.
You pour them in the drain?
Yeah, you're not supposed to?
I mean, if you're at work, you don't care about it going in the sewer.
I mean, I'm not on kitchen duty this month, so I don't care.
It's not going to affect the kitchen duty. We usually don't pour our grounds from the French press into our drain at home because we have a septic tank.
Okay.
And we don't want that to mess with the bacteria that's in the septic tank that eats the poop and helps it decompose to go into the ground, because you don't want your septic tank to overfill because you're putting too much of that in there.
Right.
So that is a little bit of extra pain in the butt for me, which is why I don't make French press unless I'm making it for multiple people.
Yeah. But when you're making bullet coffee, more steps.
Yeah.
More ingredients that aren't cheap. Because if you got to get the organic grass-fed butter,
which I don't currently have right now, which reading an article last night when I told you I wanted to do this, I kind of talked myself out of like I was like, oh my god, I'm poisoning myself.
Are you using like margarine, like Land O'Lakes?
No, I'm using butter, but it's unsalted Land O'Lakes butter.
Yeah.
And I realized, maybe I shouldn't be consuming this.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm not doing it on a daily basis, but that'll make you think, right? I had apprehension doing it in the first place. Like, obviously, I know, like that's not good for me.
Sure.
Like, in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
It's not good for me. But I didn't want to go out and buy the grass-fed, like, butter crap.
Yeah.
That I didn't know about.
Right. So if you consider convenience, if you consider cost, time it takes to put all this together every morning, if you were to do it every morning, that would be a detractor for me. So it would purely have to be the fact that the state that it puts me in, the amount of either focus or wokeness that it provides me is worth the cost and the extra time and cleanup that it takes to make this. And from what I'm hearing from you, it does make a noticeable difference in your mental state, especially now when you are very sleep deprived. The seasons are changing. You've got a sinus infection, so this is like a survival tactic for you. This is a way of, this is a coping mechanism.
Yeah, I was telling my supervisor yesterday that what's been propping me up in the morning is this coffee.
Yeah.
Is a yes and
yes
to your statement about time.
Yes.
It's about as much time to prep this as it would be for me to just soft boil some eggs, cut the stems off of some strawberries, and make that plate ready. But it's also not ready to be consumed in the car.
Yeah.
And so, like, I got to sit down, I got to eat that. So what it has given me the opportunity to do is only have prep time at home, and then I drink this on my way to work
as you drive in.
And it's not nutritionally balanced, but it is enough sustenance and energy to get through the morning. Yeah,
well, and that's the thing is I often become starving by 10:30 and can't wait until noon to eat, so I often end up eating at like 11:15 or so.
Right.
So if I could push that back a bit, I think it would help my productivity.
It is about it is at least 400 calories.
Yeah, that's probably, I'm less concerned about the amount of calories. My morning routine sounds like it's completely different from yours, where I wake up and I make a Keurig coffee single and have a bowl of cereal.
Mm-hmm.
And as I'm doing that, I'll, look at my news feed, check out Twitter, and then, finish up and then go get ready.
Cereal by itself?
I have to have cereal by itself because I don't drink milk. It's depressing.
That would not get me through like 2 hours.
Yeah, well, that's
about the amount of time to where it lasts. Yeah.
So if this could give me extra sustenance,
if anything, like you need more protein, and
I do,
and you need like a fruit or something in there.
Well, that requires
fruit would be secondary. You need some protein.
Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, it's I go for quick and fast, easy, cheap. Yeah. And then I get here and usually have a decent lunch.
So what I'm converting over to, so like Bulletproof coffee is like fat.
Yes. You're
getting by on fat, which like we don't need to demonize fat. I'm concerned about my cholesterol. Yeah. So like that's the big thing that's holding me back. Protein has a similar effect for me in that it gives me a solid base. I used to make soft-boiled eggs every morning and eat them, and it really helped with my cholesterol. I'm going back to that, but it's a little bit more involved of a process and isn't as consistent with the taste. Because if you F up, like, your desired state of the yolk, like, you end up having a breakfast that doesn't taste that great.
Yeah.
And so what Bulletproof coffee can do for me is I can guarantee that I can get to 11:30 without even thinking about eating. And it's consistently good.
Okay.
Every day. I actually enjoy drinking it. And I advocate, if you're not going to be on a full keto diet and doing a CrossFit workout immediately after drinking this stuff, that it's best not to make it an everyday thing and to only use it in a pinch where something happens in your morning where you just are not going to be able to have the kind of full breakfast that you want. The problem with you is that it seems like you never have a hearty breakfast in the morning.
I would say never. Yeah. Well, and so this kind of segues into a recent development for me is that I just got some food sensitivity lab results back yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I don't think I've seen you since then. But I took a blood test and sent it in to, there's this website that will test your blood sample against 88 to 90 some different food groups and tell you what your food sensitivities are to them from high to low. And I got my results back, and it's going to be a challenge to avoid all of the things that I've tested sensitive to. As a result, I may try a more keto diet because those seem to be the only things that I don't have any sensitivities to or low sensitivities to.
So you don't have sensitivity to dairy?
I do.
Oh.
Why is dairy a big component of keto?
Well, with Bulletproof, it's butter, right?
Yeah. So one of my top sensitivities is cow's milk, cheddar cheese, mozzarella cheese. Those are in the I didn't have anything in the high range, which is good. Mm-hmm. In the next highest up, I think the moderate sensitivity group, peanuts, sesame oil, or sesame, I guess, dairy, the gluten in the wheat, and that may have tested lower because I've already eliminated it from my diet, so there wasn't enough in my blood sample to suggest a reaction to those. So I already know that's...
So dairy was higher than gluten.
Dairy was higher than gluten, yeah.
Yeah.
So trying to
and
back
you haven't
off
recognized
of that a little
that.
bit. I have. I mean, I haven't been drinking milk in my cereal, like I just said, because I know that when I do, I get really sick. Not sick, but like...
Have you tried the Fairlife stuff, like the ultra-filtered milk? It's supposed to be lactose-free?
I don't love milk enough to
Care
try to
about
find
that, yeah.
a replacement for it. Which, I like cereal, and I get cereals that I enjoy the taste of to eat by itself. So cheese is another story though. Cheese, when I stopped eating wheat, everything I gravitated to has cheese on it. Nachos, tacos, all that's that's a major staple of my diet. So as it pertains to this topic, I am going to be moving towards a more keto-based diet. Just as a test of, is this going to help me feel much better? But that's not to say that I would be against trying Bulletproof coffee a couple of times just to get a barometer for, how does this affect my mental state? I'm already having cheese and stuff right now, so it's not like it's going to be a huge thing for me to introduce it into my diet here and there. I'm going to try to remove a lot of things from my diet and then slowly introduce them back in. So I wouldn't mind, and this is such a small sample size, right, of the butter that you have to put into the coffee. I would risk a little bit of stomach discomfort, for a test to see, is this going to give me limitless mental capacity, like the Bradley Cooper movie. I'll try it. I'll say I like it enough to try it a couple of times. I'm not going to make it an everyday thing or anything, but I will try it enough times to give you some feedback on how it makes me feel. So, all right. Go ahead and ask me the ultimate question.
So, Brandon, now that we've had this conversation, do you now like Bulletproof coffee?
I think I like it enough, and I like the potential outcomes enough to give it a try. I think that's close enough to award you a point. You've convinced me that this is something that is worth trying. So I think that's good enough for a point. That's 2-2. We're both batting 100 in our episodes here. So we're gonna have to think about, how do we mix this up a little bit? How do we find some things that are going to be a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit of a step up?
Well, as long as you don't die from drinking Bulletproof coffee, then we have a chance to find out.
Well, yes, there might be a legal battle that results from this episode if that were to happen, but I don't think it'll happen. And I'll just make sure to take you out of my will before this happens.
Oh, I'm so honored to know that I was already in there.
You are only going to get my old 90s DVDs, and that's it.
Oh, F you, man.
Hey, man. You might still get them. Just don't kill me.